So welcome to our tutorial on speed painting the epic Prussian Landwehr miniatures from Warlord Games. So in this video I'm going to take you through some quick and easy techniques to get your troops battle ready to a tabletop standard basically. So what I've done is I've started off with a black primer, and then I go over all of their tunics in midnight blue. I've gone for midnight blue because it is quite dark, which is quite comparable to the coloration that their tunics were. I have been reading a couple of books, actually it was about the Grand Army, and in that it was talking about how the uniforms were only the bright colours, or the sort of picture quality colours, for a matter of weeks. As soon as they went into the field, you couldn't wash the clothes because they were wool, so they became too heavy. They would shrink, so the best means of cleaning was using a stick to beat them. So now we do the trousers, and I'm using game colour ice white. And again, just be careful not to go over the blue, and just cover front and back. But yeah, at the end it was saying, so yeah, you beat the clothes with a stick, they would get dirty, and because they weren't using modern dyes which last, within weeks they would be faded. So it might be supposed to be a dark blue, but within a month or two of campaign they would be very pale blues. So that's just something across the board for all of your armies. Don't worry too much about whether it's a dark blue or a lighter blue, because if they're on campaign it's going to fade. Same with all of the armies. The Russians might have been a dark green to start with, but by the end it's going to be a very light grey green. British are going to be pale reds. So don't worry too much about that, just do what you need to get your miniatures painted to a good quality. I'm still reading the book, it's very interesting. It was a side that I've never really thought about, but it does make sense. It also goes into the Waterloo 100 Days campaign, and how a lot of the French troops, they didn't have the uniforms for them, so it was literally, here's a great coat and here's your belts and off you go. And I think probably a lot of the different nations' armies at one point or another were in that state. So next up we're going to do the boots and the leatherwork. So I use game colour black. It's got a slight gloss finish, but not too much so it kind of works for leatherwork. So as I said, we do the boots and then their ammo pouches as well. If you've got a very fine detail brush, you could do the visor on their caps also. And some of the cross straps are black on these miniatures, so there's a few bits to pick out. Next up we're going to do the muskets, and so we use game colour leather brown. It's quite a nice light brown colour, which at this scale is good because it will stand out. Plus at a later step we will be putting a dark brown wash over the miniatures, and so that'll just dull it down a little bit. But overall I feel that they come out nicely. So the Prussian painting tutorials, I think it was Clark Commando requested them, so I got around to it at last. But for all of you, please make your requests of things. Usually from when you request to when it actually goes live, you are looking at about 2 to 3 months, because I've already got about a month and a half's videos ready. So yeah, let me know as soon as possible and then they will come out. I do have some Italian World War II troops ready to paint as well, so they'll be coming along shortly as well. Russian World War II, I need to find some STL files and then I can download, can print some, and then I'll be doing those also. But yeah, just please keep letting me know what you want. But I've always liked the Prussian uniforms. I always thought they look smart without being too over the top. Some of the uniforms are a bit too gaudy, but I find the Prussians, they just look good. Now we do the metalwork, so that's the bayonets and scabbards, and we're just using game colour silver. I've said it a few times in my videos that this silver is probably one of my favourite colours because of the way that it goes quite smoothly over the miniatures. It doesn't go glunky, it just flows and keeps its qualities. So yeah, I definitely like this one and recommend it. And again, when we put our wash on later, although it starts right now nice and bright, once we put the wash on, that dulls it down, and then because it's so bright to start with, you don't even need to highlight it if you don't want to. At least I don't. And whilst we're on the Prussians, I still can't believe how they got it wrong in the Napoleon film, and how the Prussians were arriving on the wrong side of the battlefield. I mean, what on excuse me, what on earth were they playing at? It's absolute lunacy. Even if you want to portray all of the historical events incorrectly, you kind of think surely one of the historians that you hired would have just pointed out that little fact. Oh, blows my mind. Anyway, here's a question for you guys. Out of the current ranges, we've got the Prussians, the French, and the British for the epic scale. Which ones do you think would make the best proxies for Russians or Austrians? Yeah, let me know your thoughts below. Next colour up is Tamiya, or from Tamiya colour, and that's flat flesh for hands and faces. Again, with this one, it's definitely worth adding a little bit of flow improver to the paint, because it will dry out and turn lumpy. So just keep that in mind. But it does, once it dries, go a nice colour, so that's why I keep using it. I was thinking maybe British for later stage Austrians, maybe French in greatcoats for Russians. Yeah, let me know what you think below, because I could always use some of those for painting tutorials. Anyway, next we cover the miniature in a dark brown wash, and then we highlight using the original colours, but also the yellow on the miniatures. I use System 3 yellow. Then we flock, and they are ready for the table. So overall, I think they came out pretty nicely. Yeah, I enjoyed painting them. There's pretty good quality moulding. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to have a good Prussian force ready for a battle. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Leave me your comments and wishes for future videos, and I'll see you next time.